There's no shortage of hybrid and electric cars, but what about fun hybrid and electric cars? That's a much shorter list, but it just got a little longer. We're here taking the new Mini Cooper SE Countryman all-4 hybrid for a spin, and yes, that is a freaking mouthful. More importantly though, it's a very good time wrapped up in a surprisingly beige package. This is Mini's second generation Countryman, which means literally everything here is brand new with the exception of one component they carried over from the original model, which was released years and years ago. I should point out this is not the first electric vehicle Mini has produced. That distinction goes to the Mini E, which was a sort of testing evaluation device. You can only get it on a lease. That's definitely not the case with this Countryman. You'll be able to walk onto a dealership and buy it for about $37,000, which isn't a ton of money for an electric vehicle, especially one that is four-wheel drive. This is, as far as I know, the single cheapest electric vehicle you can get in the United States with all-wheel drive, which is really, really useful if you live in the Northeast, the Pacific Northwest, really anywhere where there's inclement weather, and God knows I'm used to that. Now, if you've never driven a Mini before, they're not just cutesy little machines. They can move like crazy, and this hybrid is no exception. You don't always see that mindset come up with electric vehicles unless you're, say, a Tesla owner. The Chevy Bolt, the Nissan Leaf, those are practical machines. That's not to say the Countryman isn't, but it is a hell of a lot of fun. Don't believe me? It'll go from 0 to 60 in a shade under 7 seconds, and we're working with a combined total of 221 horsepower. I think we're going the right way. I can tell that because I'm looking directly ahead of me. There is a reflective display right dead center that gives you your current speed and the next direction in your list of directions as you're navigating to wherever you're going. In this case, an IKEA in Brooklyn. It's been doing a great job in city traffic, and I've really enjoyed taking every single tight corner in this thing, even in this terrible weather. We took it for a quick spin on the New Jersey Turnpike too, and I had no trouble overtaking people left and right. That is, in fairness, mostly because of the 3-cylinder turbo engine, though I've been keeping the car mostly in what Mini calls the save battery mode. It keeps the battery levels topped up at least 90%. If I wanted to let the electric motor do more of the lifting, there's the max eDrive mode, which uses just the battery to cruise at speeds of up to 78 miles per hour. That's not too bad for a little guy, huh? Well, maybe it's not so much a little guy anymore either. I mean, hey, we all know the knocks against Minis. Good luck squeezing more than one other person into one, right? Well, the Countryman has significantly more room in the back than before, not to mention you also get a little extra headroom too. That's not bad, especially when you consider it doesn't look that much bigger than your normal Mini. I mean, just look at this thing. As you might expect from a hybrid, there are a lot of creature comforts here, especially geeky ones. We also have a touchscreen navigation center right here in the center of the dashboard, which has frankly been a bit of a headache so far. I do have a control dial down here that allows me to access my functions, play my music, really kind of get everything I need going. But if you're just sort of using the touchscreen, well, don't, really. It's kind of awful. I've been struggling with the navigation all day, and I've gotten lost at least once because there's a view that tells you what your next move is, but that's sort of off to the side. Most of the display is taken up by an overhead view of streets that doesn't actually center to you unless you specifically tell it to. So I'm looking at this now, and I don't know where I am. I'm supposed to turn on Kent Avenue. I don't know where that is. I have a very rough estimation of the scale and scope of Brooklyn thanks to this map, but it's really not the most user-friendly thing. I'd just as soon use the phone in my pocket to help me out. As a device that you're meant to interact with every day, the Mini Countryman Hybrid falls short. Don't get me wrong, the analog switches and chrome toggles are fun, but that's not really what I'm after. I'm after a clean, sleek infotainment/navigation system, and I'm just not getting it. Unless you're not in a rush to get somewhere, you will almost certainly want to use your smartphone for navigation. Unfortunately, this particular Mini Countryman does not pack support for Apple's CarPlay, but that's just because it's a not quite final version. The ones you'll be able to buy at a dealership for $37,000 definitely will. So you'll be able to plug in your iPhone and work with a much more familiar interface. And frankly, that's kind of all you need. You need something that makes sense, something that you've worked with before, and not something that's going to throw you for a loop while you're on the road.
You have reached your next destination.
Except what? This is a gas station. We're trying to go to an IKEA. What do you mean turn left?
Flushing Avenue.
What the f***? We've taken these same corners like 5 times. Am I right or am I crazy? Like, we definitely put the thing in right the first time. And I know this because the mini guy did it for us. So, do me a favor, dear viewer. Can you tell me what the hell is going on here? Like, that's mildly helpful, I guess. I'd rather just have this, frankly. But I can't, there's no way to pull it over. You can make it go away. That button should do something, and it doesn't. The navigation is very bad, but I'm also very bad. I thank God that this car is such a fun drive, because otherwise I'd be absolutely miserable right now. We're getting there. We're making progress.
In 700 feet, your destination is on the left.
There we go. All told, there's a lot to like about the Countryman All-4 Hybrid. I wish I could squeeze a little more range out of the battery. More than 12 miles would have been great, and I wish the fuel tank was just a little bigger because it's currently much smaller than a regular Minis. All that said, you do get a lot of fun squeezed into a fun-sized package for the price. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go for another ride.